Izanami is one of the first hunters in Smite 2 that I describe as a true hunter. As an ADC, she has a proper controllable self buff that enhances her attack speed, truthfully hitting the raw ADC fantasy, attacking fast and hard. However, while I think she's a true hunter, she also has a few different mechanics that make her distinct and especially play very differently to your typical hunter. Instead of starting with her passive, we need to first start with her basic attacks. Izanami's basic attacks work like a boomerang. When she fires them out, once they reach their apex, they'll return to Izanami, also damaging enemies on the way back. Because of this, her auto attacks pass through all enemies and damage them all the same. Her auto attacks damage is split into two portions, both having lesser scaling than a normal basic attack, but due to her ability to hit multiple enemies at once, she's able to have a lot of pressure in the lane, because she can clear waves and camp so quickly and with so little effort. This is also amazing in a team fight, because Izanami is able to quickly demolish people who are lined up. Hitting two or more enemies with one basic attack is incredibly powerful, and also having the ability to ignore tanks in front of you that are trying to body block you and attack squishies behind them is also a powerful option to have. Izanami's auto attacks are the reason people will and won't play her. They're weird, they feel clunky in the early game, and are slightly more difficult to hit effectively than your average ADC, but stick with it, the payoff is more than worth it. With her auto attacks out of the way, let's move on to her passive. Izanami's passive is Death Draws Nigh. She gains physical penetration and intelligence for each 1% of your max HP taken as damage within 10 seconds. However, the stacks won't drop below your current percentage of missing health. With a max of 50 stacks, if you're missing 50% of your health, you'll be fully buffed. And then with a total of 50 stacks, you'll have 20% penetration, and at level 20, you can gain up to 75 bonus intelligence. This passive is extremely powerful, even though it's just stats. While it does require you to take damage, Izanami is able to shred tanks and squishies alike much easier early game before you purchase your penetration items. Penetration is all the rage in Smite 2 right now, and having this much penetration on your passive is a huge buff to Izanami, especially because your typical build already includes over 40% penetration. Izanami is frequently doing nearly true damage on everyone at full build. This also incentivizes you to keep fighting as long as you can, and you always want to be balanced on that knife's edge, looking to maximize your passive while not letting your frail self get picked in a teamfight. Sickle Storm is your first ability, and it's your bread and butter attack speed buff. Izanami significantly increases her attack speed for 6 seconds, and your auto attacks become normal. They do increased damage, apply a bleed effect, but no longer pierce through enemies or return to you. When you activate this ability, you basically become godlike. You do almost incomparable damage for those 6 seconds, and any tanks in front of you will melt within a handful of auto attacks. Coming with an up to 50% attack speed stim and a solid bleed, you literally cannot be stat checked while this ability is active. Additionally, you can right-click to cancel this ability early. You should do this whenever somebody is body blocking your auto attacks, whenever you can hit 2 or 3 extra people with your basic attacks, and so on, but the decision to cancel it early shouldn't be taken lightly. You need to weigh the pros and cons of canceling it versus using it, and mastering versatility between this massive buff and your unique auto attacks is an interesting decision to make in the heat of the moment. Spectral Projection is your second ability, and it's much, much less wordy. You shoot out a projection of yourself in a straight line, dealing damage and slowing enemies' hit. This passes through enemies and walls, so you can cast it without worries. But basically, you use this ability to slow down targets to let you hit them, to chase people down, or to peel for yourself. Simple, stupid, long range, and pretty helpful. Fade Away is your movement ability, and one of the reasons you can stay safe while in lane. Izanami leaps to a target location. Importantly, this is a leap. Even though it looks like a dash, it functions like a leap. So you can use it to dodge skill shots and important cooldowns. Because with a leap, if you go in air, which she doesn't look like she's going in air, she's going underground, but when you go in the air with a leap, you can dodge like skill shots, CC, all that stuff. And she becomes invisible upon arriving at the target location. You can use both your 1 and your 2 while invisible without breaking the stealth, but if you auto-attack or cast your ultimate, you'll become invisible again. While you're invisible, you gain increased movement speed, and you should use this as any ADC uses a mobility spell. Sparingly, cautiously, but efficiently. Be sure to really only use this ability when you need to, whether it's to escape or to chase. Finally, Izanami's ultimate is Dark Portal. It's rather underwhelming, but it's incredibly long crowd control which helps Izanami really focus down her targets. It summons a Dark Portal at the ground, dealing a burst of damage after a short delay and applying a dot, a damage over time. The damage also slows and silences enemies. This is important for stopping key targets from crowd controlling you, chaining this off of somebody else's crowd control so you can stop them from using movement abilities, and so on. It's utility, but it's also burst damage. Basically, just use it whenever you need to. Ultimately, as an ADC, you want to be greedy, take kills, collect gold, and always stay alive. Remember, you are the main character of the team. They need you to take objectives like Gold Fury, Fire Giant, Pyromancer, and Towers, so your survival and success is the team's survival and success. Play for yourself as much as you can, be confident in yourself, hit your auto attacks, and don't position like an idiot. Whenever you die, it's almost always your fault. While you're the main character, you need to act like it. You have the agency to stay alive as much as you do to take the lives of all of your enemies. Here's an example ADC build for Izanami. You can substitute Devour's Gauntlet for Bloodforge, but I really like the flat pen that Devos provides. You can build Penetration so late on this build because of Izanami's passive, so if the enemy team doesn't have many tanks, you can even go Braggy's Harp before you go Executioner. You can't skip Haste and Fatalis because it's so broken, and until Highest deletes or reworks that item, we'll be building it until the end of the time. Max your 2 for wave clear, then your 1, then your 3, putting a point into your ultimate whenever you can. And that's everything. Remember, ADC is a skill-intensive role, so even if at first you don't succeed, keep trying. The biggest tip I can give you for hitting auto attacks is to actively think about how your opponent will move and where they'll be. Most people don't think at all when they use basic attacks. They basically hope the opponent won't move or that they'll walk into them. Remember, think while you play. Some people often think that they are thinking, but honestly, they aren't. They're just going with the motions. They're playing reactively. Actively talk to yourself in your head. Focus on what the enemy is doing, where everyone is, and where you're aiming. If you understand what I mean, you will instantly see an improvement on hitting auto attacks, I promise you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if this helped you. Take care, and have a good day.
You can't link up with that.
Oh, yes!